Green Bay is a small town, only 100,000 people. Those 100,000 people may be different in many ways, but there's one thing that brings them all together: the Green Bay Packers. In Titletown, the blue-collar city only knows hard work, tailgating, championships, but more importantly, they know family.
We have a saying in this town: faith, family, and the Green Bay Packers are all that you need. Sanjay and I grew up in Green Bay. You could say that we are Green Bay, or even better, the voices of Green Bay. We bring a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience.
Friendship, family, and football.
Ladies and gentlemen,
This is the Freezer Podcast.
We are back. This is the Freezer Podcast, where we bring you a local feel of Packer fandom to a worldwide audience. I'm Sanjay. Alongside me, like always, is Fred and Matt, and we are live here in our home studios, brought to you by Game On Wisconsin, brought to you by the Sweep Studios, and well, we're back. So it's good to get the draft out of the way. Minicamp, just kind of the rookie OTAs or whatever it's called, it just happened last weekend or 2 weekends ago. So it's nice to kind of get back into things because now the schedule's been released. There was a 3-hour event, which was stupid because the schedule comes out 24 to 48 hours before that, and they leak all these other special days on different networks, the 2 weeks before that. So, we already kind of knew half our schedule before, 7 o'clock on that day. So, we'll talk about that, on the later part of the show, but first, we have some pretty breaking news, guys. It is one of those things that we were kind of just waiting because we were like, okay, look, Devontae's gone. We don't have him. We paid Rodgers. Maybe that could open a little bit more up this year. We made some other, moves that kind of helped us, with Devontae Campbell and obviously with Rasul Douglas. But the biggest one now, to kind of solidify that defense and to kind of lock things up till we see maybe a Bane Gary or potentially, an Elton Jenkins later on, Money gets his big bag. That is the big contract that we're going to talk about today. Guy gets paid. Obviously, I was wondering how big of a number, he was going to get based on his injury last year. Obviously, he didn't play more than 3 games last year, and I guess 3.5 technically, but he got the bag. And I was wondering, with all the other cornerbacks that had gotten big contracts, where would his, fall with them, because they obviously played, more, playoff games, not playoff games, but season games. They had a little bit more, of a resume too, because they're a little bit older. But what do you guys think about this huge contract? It's obviously, basically the snow-fly zone, right? In Lambeau now, with Rasul and Eric Stokes and himself. But big bag, big, decision by Goot and Russ Ball. Huge for the defense and huge for Matt LaFleur.
I think it was a big move, man. I mean, it was a big move by an organization that doesn't usually make big moves, especially when it comes to someone outside of the quarterback world, right? I mean, it was a little wild, but it was something we all wanted, right? There's no denying it had to happen. There's no denying he's probably the best corner in the league when you mix talent versus age. There's no denying it had to happen, and they made it work, and they did it really well. And I think it was a kind of a two-sided thing, right? And I think Ian Rappaport was the person who brought this up, and I thought it was a great take because I think we kind of got lost a little bit with this. Is that last year, obviously, he gets hurt. He battles his way back to play a singular playoff game. Now, it should have been more playoff games, but that's a whole other fucking subject we won't talk about. But he battled to come back for this team, and he put himself on the line to be a part of this defense, to be a leader of this defense, and to go do that. So what I thought was, I think the front office and the Packers had to look at that and go, okay, this guy is in. This guy is a Packer. This guy understands the system. He's putting himself out there for us. And I think from our perspective, the organizational perspective, it's a no-brainer, right? I mean, coming across a potential generational talent corner. I mean, come on, we haven't seen it in forever. I mean, Terrell Buckley, how'd that work out? I mean, I look back and you know,
Ahmad Carroll.
Herb Adderley was honestly the one guy that I can think of that was drafted and successful. Sorry, with the Packers. I mean, you can argue the Charles Woodson different.
Al Harris
how-
came
how
from
he got-
Tampa Bay.
Yeah, how he got here, things like that. I mean, Charles Woodson is arguably my favorite player of all time. So
Did we
I'm not
draft
gonna,
Mike McKenzie?
We did. Him
We
and
did.
I think it was Fred Vincent that same year too.
Yeah, I feel like
cornerbacks.
Mike
And so
McKenzie
like
had a solid.
there's talented guys, right? Like we can go through and like, McKenzie and Harris and like there's guys that I think warrant some respect, but never on the lines of what I believe, and I fully truly believe that Jaire will end up being. I think Jaire will be all said and done, probably a top 25 all-time corner in the NFL. And that's not current, that's lifetime. I think he just has that ability. And I think what helps, and you kind of touched on this a little bit, was the fact that the defense, the front seven is so good, and the rest of that secondary is so good that he doesn't have to be the Sauce Gardner. He doesn't have to be a Darrelle Revis on a Jets team that was very good, but there was some still holes. Like he is just going to be able to shut down a single side of a defense, and I think that's or an offense, and I think that's going to be fantastic. So I love it.
Yeah.
Big props to Goot for making that move and for just doing something a little outside the box, man. I mean, again, here we are. Tell me something that Goot hasn't done great, and don't say Jordan Love yet, because technically we haven't figured out if that's not great yet.
And he drafted Ja, who's outside the profile for what they want.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
when they drafted Ja, I was like, what?
I know, a little bit unknown, but he's paying off, and yeah, Goody is should have won over all of our trust at this point, but
and to double down on Stokes too. Sorry.
Well, I was going to bring up Stokes.
Probably, yeah. Okay, sorry. Go.
Could be. I mean, honest to God, that could be midway point of the year. That's your top 1-2 cornerback duo in the league. I mean, for real. But I mean, this signing was necessary, and I love it because it just shows the Packers are committed to building a really strong defensive team, in the years to come. I think they're maybe switching philosophies a little bit as we kind of get into that. Not kind of. We are at the end of the Aaron Rodgers, era. It's just a matter of time once it's going to come to an end officially. So making sure you have a really strong defense that can, get the ball back, give the extra possessions to the offense. Jaire is going to aid in that big time. So this was just the last kind of domino to fall, guys. We've all been waiting on it, kind of for a calendar year at this point. But to finally have it done, it's not going to, hang over the team, as they get into OTAs or training camp. You got all your guys there, and now it's just time to buckle up and get ready for the season and get refocused. And I don't think this team's going to have any problem. It's a veteran team, and the leaders on the defense, man. I mean, I don't know. I think we've talked about it plenty. It might be the strongest defensive unit we've had going into a season. Can you say 2010? I mean, maybe even more than that. Even that year was kind of like, yeah, they're up and coming, but this got some hype to it now.
I would say way more hype, man. And I would say 1,000 times more hype. And I would also, I thought it was interesting because you just said this is a veteran team, and it's not. Like, it's a veteran team, and our veterans are like 25, 26.
True.
How incredible is that? I mean, that's crazy to think about, though. Like, Kenny Clark, veteran. Like, he's literally 10 years younger than I am, for gosh sakes.
Yeah.
Bane Gary, Jaire, Savage. I mean, none of these guys are that old, and yet they're leaders. And like, that to me is what is so astounding in this whole process of what Goot's done. Is he's been so good at establishing and then inquiring and bringing on the right talent, and to bringing on talent like in a foreshadowing sense, right? Like to bring on Gary right after you just signed Preston Smith and Zadarius didn't make any sense, right? To bring on Stokes when we already had Jaire didn't make a whole lot of sense to us, thinking in our minuscule minds of fans, if you will. But I just, bringing on AJ Dillon with Aaron, like he's just been so ahead of the 8 ball. And I think what we're going to see now is we get to see all the fruits of that, and it's going to be fantastic.
That's why this team's so exciting, because like you said, I mean, I stand corrected. It's like, yeah, it's a veteran team, but not almost in a way. It's like we think of him as veterans, like Kenny Clark, he's a young guy, but he's been around for a couple years. But like the past defenses, like 2010, you had a veteran like Charles Woodson in there. 96, you built it around like Reggie White, Sean Jones, Eugene Robinson, those guys. Like this is like a team of guys sub 27 for the most part that are already and playing well. So yeah, I mean that's a great point.
Yeah,
And now locked up too. Like most of them
Yeah,
are locked up for the next
Right.
3-4 years, which is crazy.
the biggest one now will be the next domino, obviously, is Bane. But you look at the experience now, the maturation of the playoffs. You see now, obviously, Stokes, this was his first run, but most of these guys now have like 2 years of experience now. See what it's like, see the grit and the blood and the sweat and the obviously turmoil too. You lost, you had such a high, expectations. You see that, you look at it maybe like the Milwaukee Bucks, you finally lose a couple times, some hardship, and then maybe this is the year that, hey, look, this is where it clicks for everybody. Maybe the end goal is the playoffs. Yes, let's, take care of business during the season, but the focus obviously turns into the end of the year. And with these new rookies that come in, which seems to be a lot of talent, these younger vet guys that we're talking about can instill that in that locker room, which is why this locker room has always, surpassed so many other franchises and the reason why we're so successful each year.
And don't forget, this is going to be year 2 of Barry's scheme now, and typically you see that second year jump from defenses. They saw it. Remember, Patton's second year was kind of that. They felt they had that real strong start. So and obviously they fell apart, but I don't think that's going to be the case here. So you could see that now, now that they're not having to teach the philosophy and the verbiage and all that. Now they know the defense they can get attacking once they kind of get those extra rookies up to speed.
And this might be a huge, go ahead. Go ahead.
No, I just think that it's such a cool situation for us to like be in and get to watch, because
it's been a while.
There's so much talent and there's so much young talent. And I just think that like these rookies kind of just get to come in and be a little bit of a free fly, right?
There's no expectation for that.
Yeah. And it's not even
no
like
pressure.
It's not even, I mean, it's definitely that. It's definitely no pressure. It's definitely no expectation in that regard, but it's like they might get to spend their rookie year kind of, with a longer leash, a little bit of a more of an open leash, like just go get the ball, go get the guy, as opposed to like, Quay, hey, we gotta have you run the whole defense. We need you to watch the line. We need to focus on this, the shifts, everything like that. He just kind of gets to go in and like just be a baller, go be a George Bulldog, go get the ball. And I think, and I could be wrong. I mean, I'm probably looking at it in a naive sense, but that's what I see with it. And I just feel like, there's so much talent and there's so much excitement. And to your point, Sanjay, 100%, there are guys on this team that have gone through 2 NFC championships and an early dismissal. They have weirdly a lot of experience, only being in the league for 3-4 years, and they're hungry. They're going to be just as hungry. They're going to be hungrier. It's not like a guy who's maybe 29 and he's lost his 3rd NFC championship and he's thinking, is it just ever going to happen? No, these guys are like, no, this will happen. This has to happen. And I think that's like the difference with this youth versus talent versus experience, is that they have all 3, as opposed to, a team that has maybe half of their team is actual like veterans, 29 and above. And then the other half is like young and you're kind of trying to mesh it. Everyone's kind of like in that same group, right? They're all young. Like they're all young enough that they could like probably chill together, as opposed to like, Kenny's
half the group is like doing their own thing.
Like it's just, there's something to be said about that, right? Like guys want to vibe together. They want to like, could you imagine, just take a minute, remove yourself from, suburbia, Wisconsin here, but imagine what that defensive locker room would look like after a massive win. Like it's got
a defensive win
popping off, like with
one where they like shut them
out, Savage and Bane and Quay and what, like they've got it. Like they're all a bunch of kids, basically, man. Like it's probably
like a college atmosphere after they leave.
Absolutely,
So
I want there's going to be a different speed there.
I want to throw this stat to you because you mentioned the playing loose and playing free and just having fun and playing how they might play back in college and then learn from that. Obviously they'll have coaching throughout the year and they'll see the mistakes that they make and, they'll get, coached up by not only the players around them, but also their coaches. But then let's just real quick flip it to the other side where it's like Christian Watson and Romeo Dubs and Samari Toure. Do they have the opposite where it feels like, shoot, maybe they have a little bit more pressure? Maybe they feel that pressure because look, now they're the only ones there. They have a higher lower room of failure because obviously you have a Hall of Fame quarterback that expects so much. And if you drop this, third down catch, what is that going to do for your psyche kind of thing? Like, hopefully Rodgers has kind of said it now and Pat and everything that, he's, very loving. He's trying to be there for players. He understands, the different age gaps and, and obviously, the mentality of things. But your thoughts on Christian Watson and Samari Toure and Romeo Dubs and even guys like Sammy Watkins, who's just kind of he's new to the team, not new to the league, but do they have that little bit more pressure comparably to the other rookies on defense?
I think they do, because I think that they're walking into a situation where, unlike years past when you're a receiver, you had 2, 3, sometimes 4 or 5 guys ahead of you who you knew were going to make the team and gonna get the majority of the reps, and you were just kind of trying to bust in and
a la Amari Rodgers, right? Like
Amari Rodgers,
he wasn't going to have a lot of
exactly. But now you're pretty much Randall Cobb, and then we'll see after that, how they rank him. Obviously, Alan Lazard's been here for a few years. Sammy Watkins was the offseason acquisition, but I think those guys coming in have to know right away, like, we're going to be expected to get up to speed and to get on the same page as Aaron Rodgers pretty quickly, because that's what this offense is going to need to click. You can't just have 2 or 3 guys on, in that offensive, in that room, not knowing what they're doing or slowly coming along. So not to say they have all the pressure on them, but compared to maybe some of the other guys on the other side of the ball that can lean on, the vet next to him, like a Devondre Campbell or Kenny Clark on the line, you have Randall Cobb, but there's no Devontae Adams there. It's like Jordy Nelson's coming back and it's going to guide them. So I think there's going to be some more quick expectations for them to come up and mature a little bit quicker than maybe they normally would.
Right? I would say both, right? So I think that you're right. I think they obviously have expectations. They obviously have some feeling of like, okay, we have to like perform, right? There's no qualms about it. And we're performing with the greatest quarterback potentially of all time. So like there's that aspect of it. But I would also argue that there's almost kind of so much precedent put on this defense right now that maybe the offense can fly under the radar, right? Like everyone's talking about Green Bay's even like the stupid ESPNs are talking more so about Green Bay's defense than they are about Aaron Rodgers. And there's something to be said about that. And I think maybe this defense is more equipped to do that, right? They're like, hell yeah, man, we're college kids. We're basically ready to rock and roll, bring that on. And maybe that'll take away a little bit of that, that expectation for that offense. I do think that they have to perform, right? They have to make it work. They have to figure out ways to dominate. But yeah, they're just going to have to do what they can. I think that LaFleur is going to obviously come up with game plans. I would hope that would help these guys kind of slowly mature into their positions and do things. But it seems like, from a ivory tower of, bliss and over, excited Packer fan, like it seems like Watson is the right choice. And it seemed like Dubs is legit. And there seems to be some talent there. So it's just gotta be more of a, just get out there and play and do your thing. And not so much of like, let's stare at Aaron Rodgers and let's stare at this offense. Like,
I think that's what the media is going to do. I think that they know Devontae is gone, and they know that the Packers didn't draft a first-round receiver technically. Wait, no, they got, you know what I mean? Like they didn't add a bunch of guys. They didn't do everything that they wanted to do. Whatever, right? So we know that they're going to be okay, but I think the local guys probably too. But I think that national media is going to be all over the Packers.
What is
offense.
the deal with that? Why is it the first rounder is the benchmark? Because
I don't know.
I've seen probably 3 guys in the first round in the last decade probably make it as a receiver, and then a lot of them fail out. So like, why
And-
is that the hit rate on the first round?
Well,
So
and the Packers are a living, breathing
Notorious.
example of why it's not about the first round;
Right.
it's about the other rounds.
yes,
They've had more second round hits than anybody I can think of as of late. So come on,
right, like
Well,
big
during the
time
draft,
caliber guys.
yeah,
during the draft, I mean, NFL Network, props to them. They brought that up. They said, listen, they've been wildly successful in the second, third, and
Yeah.
fourth round. And, you know, you can think of the only time we ever took one in the first round was Javon Walker was the last one, I believe.
yeah, like 04,
You know, incredible
05.
talent, but a douche. And so, like, I mean, I don't understand it just as much as you don't understand it, Sanjay. I think it's ridiculous. I think that
Yeah.
everybody's like, if they're drafted in the first round, guaranteed success.
Yeah, Garrett Wilson.
Really?
What is
Look
Garrett
at-
Wilson getting out
Yeah.
of
Well,
you
look
know-
at the last 10 years of the draft, right? First rounders, we're talking 32 guys drafted in the last 10 years. You're talking about 320 guys. I would probably guess that maybe 100 of them are still successful in the NFL, and that is being extremely generous.
and that's not even
Guys
receiver.
fall
That's
suck.
just players.
Absolutely, that's just players in general. You look at
So,
receivers, you're looking at
it-
even smaller number. Like it's absolutely ridiculous. So I just think that there's obviously some pressure to be successful. Of course there is. And you're always going to have the, well, Devontae could have done this. Well, Devontae would
Yeah.
have thought this. Well, Devontae, like, okay, cool. Like, but the truth of the matter is Devontae didn't want to be here. And if anyone's going to
Exactly.
be talking about Devontae, shut the hell up.
And I
It's
want one more.
done. It wasn't about the Packers. It wasn't about the Packers not paying money. It wasn't about anything outside of the fact that Devontae did not want to be here. Get over it. It's got to get done in a different era. So let's just roll with it.
And I want everyone to pump the brakes when we get to training camp because it's so easy. One guy has a
yeah.
couple of catches or one or two practices, and next thing
I'm
he's
over that.
anointed. He's going to go to the Hall of Fame. Everybody
goes
just
nuts.
chill out. Okay, let these guys catch up, play some games, get into the regular season. I know it's not going to happen, so I'm begging for something that will never happen. But
At
it's
least
just like
our
let
viewers.
these
Some of
guys
that.
mature.
Our viewers
Yeah.
and our
Yeah.
podcast, aren't you guys know? And you
Yeah.
guys are probably all smart enough because you watch us because you're smart.
And
So,
similarly, don't bury somebody because they don't come alive right away. Look at
Right,
Jamar Chase.
man.
Not to say one of these guys is Jamar Chase, but the last
They
summer people
literally
like, this
called him
guy's
stupid.
toast.
They called
Yeah.
him stupid because he
Like,
didn't
yeah,
know how to
exactly.
freaking run her up.
Burn.
So
Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, so what? Real
If
quick,
Matt's right,
uh,
just send him some tips.
before we
Accepting
get
them all.
to the season schedule and stuff, I want to just get your like. We'll do this, before like in August, like we typically usually do. We'll do our like, our breakout guys, like kind of like our predictions of players and things. But I wanted to just get your feel, especially with maybe one player on each side for you guys, and I'll go last. But offense and defense, what's your breakout player for you guys?
On offense?
I said offense and defense. Yeah. Or you can
Okay,
just
so
do
Matt, you go first.
Offense, I'm
Let's
offense. I'm
do
going to say
offense. Let's do offense, and then we'll all go do defense.
all right.
okay. I don't know if it's technically a breakout, but I feel like AJ Dillon's going to have a monster year. I just feel like he's going to be featured.
looks like,
he
yeah, he
might
will be the
overtake Aaron
focus.
Jones.
Right.
But I feel like he's just primed to just explode and just have this epic season for the Packers, particularly because you don't have maybe a main receiving threat. So maybe they end up running the ball more. They incorporate those two a little bit more, but it just feels like Dillon, man, is gonna have himself a season.
I like it.
Yeah, I mean that seems like a super safe and lazy.
Yeah.
offense.
What?
It
What do you
was.
mean? Safe? That was a pretty good pick.
That's
That's a good
I mean,
pick.
who doesn't believe that? AJ
Okay.
Dillon's gonna
All right.
dominate
Give
this
us our hot freaking take here,
I'm not saying
Mr.
that's a hot
Bobby
take.
touchdowns.
That's-
Yeah, Bobby
I'm not-
touchdowns. Exactly.
No, I'm not saying a hot take. All I'm saying was like
That's a
everyone
safe
in
pick.
Green,
Yeah. I mean,
everyone in
that's-
Wisconsin thinks that AJ Dillon's gonna kill it.
Oh,
So
okay.
I
So,
expected
what's
more
the
from you.
deep, dark, hidden
It's
sleeper?
not
dark
here?
horse.
Dark. It's not deep and dark at all. Because there's no fucking way any of us know deep and dark right now. None of us know what our offense looks like.
That's why I went safe.
I would say yes. See, that's my point.
Oh, stop, Matt.
It's a layup. It's a layup.
You fed him
Yeah.
now. Now you just made
Solid
him look.
layup. Solid lip. So
Took the two, not a three.
and I agree. I think AJ Dillon. My only concern with AJ Dillon is I just don't know if he's. I don't know. I guess I don't know if he's ready for like a 17,
But he doesn't
18,
need
19,
to be
20
though.
game
He doesn't
season.
need to.
And I
be.
agree 100%. I think Aaron Jones is that perfect complement. Sanjay and I
Right.
talked about it. Get him in the outside, get him on the flats and do things like that. I'm going to go with Geb here. And I really do believe, I think Lazard could have himself a really good season. And this is why. When you look at last year going into the playoffs, his last 3 games were his best games, I think, of his career. He was doing really well. He was getting open, catching the ball. Then you went into the playoffs. Aaron Rodgers stares at Devontae Adams, doesn't look at Lazard, blah, blah, blah. I just think Lazard is at that point in his career where receivers usually take another step. I think his size and speed will be beneficial in this offense. And I also potentially crazy, but I think if they find ways to use him in a unique packages where he lines up on the line as a tight end and then maybe moves out, I think Lazard could be like a weird new age. Like, so, okay, we always talk about these two things, right? There's that safety who plays a little bit of like linebacker, right? That was like a thing going into like the mid 2015 to 2020 was that hybrid safety, right? And then you went into these tight ends and all of a sudden the tight ends weren't built like Bobby touchdowns anymore. They were built like, they were 6'7" and could run a 4.2. They were Kyle Pitts like
basketball players, man.
I think that's kind of where you're going to start seeing, like, even with like Lazard clearly a receiver, but could be more beneficial off the line. And I think
Darren Waller.
That's where I think, Darren Waller, exactly.
That's what I think he is. He's Darren Waller.
Absolutely. I think you're 100% right with that. I think that's why I think he will have a more successful and probably be the breakout player this year, just because I hope that the Packers start to look at him and say he is being wasted lining him on the outside. Put him in some weird ass positions where linebackers have to cover him, all safeties have to cover him, and go from there.
He's a top 5 rated run blocker. Like
he's going to be on the field a lot
already.
Right.
Yeah.
So why he's not all like put him at tight end, then motion him out. Motion him.
You could wreak havoc with him.
Like you could do so many things. Like it's
get him on a linebacker.
What I think it's very similar to like what I think they want to do, like in the sense of like Aaron Jones, right? Aaron Jones running back, but could potentially be a receiver. DeGuara is kind of a fullback, halfback, tight end. Lazard's kind of a receiver. Like people aren't like designated to singular positions anymore. And I think that's where Lazard, like if we were smart, if the Green Bay Packers were smart, start a new thing, start this new trend where like you're looking for 6-7 receivers and you transition them into tight ends. I think the Green Bay Packers could blaze a new trail of a new position, and I think that's why Lazard could be great.
Well, Joe brought up a good point about Watkins. Just real quick, is that part of the reason I believe that they signed him was he's a top 2 run blocker. So that's kind of when I
don't think he's making the roster. So I think
what
he's. What if they go get someone else? What if they go get someone else?
Maybe they cut him. I don't know. He's making the roster. Come on,
we'll see.
Hey, big shout out to Will D, man. That's my guy.
I love it. Really straight to the point. I love it, Will. So okay,
we never know.
I'm in a little. So here's the thing. I think that's the perfect.
I agreed with you, Gebber. What do you like? Some people.
I think he's in the perfect spot of where you slated him as a breakout, because here's the thing. I really haven't seen him do anything other than against the Lions and against like maybe the Bears. So like now granted, other than that, maybe last play against the 49ers where he was pretty wide open.
He's going to stop getting hurt after his big games.
Yes, that's exactly it.
He's a big game
immediately after he gets a huge
he's gone.
touchdown.
Forget about him.
But I also do feel like he sometimes against the bigger opponents, like where was he against the Bucks? Where was he against the Rams? Where was he against, any of these other teams that are like bigger and better and stronger? I mean, again,
he's wide open against the
I'm not saying he needs to be the superstar receiver.
Talking about Lazard.
Exactly. That's why it's nice that you said breakout.
But can we honestly make a fair assumption of his success when big games? Where Aaron Rodgers was looking.
I get that.
Lazard actually get a legitimate chance?
If we go look at the all 22, maybe we'll see if he was
right, and that's my
open,
point. Is like this year without Adams, do we actually
be featured more?
Now, if he's fucking shit and he's getting 2 targets in 1 catch, and I'm gonna say, okay, you're shit.
All right. Well, hey, again, you slated him as the breakout, not as the MVP of the offense. So, all right, I'm gonna be real quick here, and this is really I didn't want to go Tunyon because I know what his his potential is. He was a 10 touchdown guy. He had a lot of success. I'm not saying it. I'm not saying, but I expect Bobby to do
I didn't
that.
say anything.
I'm already telling him. I'm telling you that I might want to get rid of him. So I expect him to get 10 touchdowns. Otherwise, he's gone.
You fucking
All right,
guy.
he out of here. Same with Matt. Matt's the same way. So yeah, he's
Whoa.
not saying anything. He's not saying anything. But
I didn't say it. What are you talking about?
In
I
text, he
can't
always
wait,
says
boys.
it.
I can't wait till Bobby rips it up.
I'm
this
gonna
year.
go. I'm
Hope
gonna
he
go
does.
Amari Rodgers. I think
Hey, okay.
I
I've
want to
forgotten
say
it.
just because of his role now. I don't know what Cobb is. That is obviously going to be the X factor for Amari. What is Cobb doing that Amari can't or can do?
Coaching.
So right, yeah, exactly. So whatever he does, we were talking about it before, Fred, with Aaron Jones. If it's not Aaron Jones running those flat routes, hopefully it's Amari Rodgers. Maybe he's doing a lot more underneath. I think Aaron Rodgers in that 2020 season of his, best season he's had since maybe like 2010, he had a lot of stuff, schemed open underneath. I mean, I don't even think, there was that many huge deep balls other than maybe like 10 deep balls that they completed that season. But I think Amari could really, anything inside 20 yards, I think he could be something. And he's still pretty big, so he can break some tackles, maybe make some guys miss. I'm not saying he's Deebo Samuel, but he has that body and he has that kind of play set too, like he did in Clemson, that could do that. So instead of us going and trading a first rounder and signing Deebo Samuel, make him Deebo Samuel. Like, I don't understand where the disconnect was for him last year. I don't know if it was a Rodgers problem, if it was a coaching problem, or if it was a Amari problem. Hopefully he figures it out this year. There's a lot of people backing him right now and giving him a lot of praise. So I'm hoping that I'm wrong, or sorry, I'm hoping that I'm right, actually. So I'm just going to pick him because I think the other guys, I didn't want to say Christian Watson. It's too early for that. And I didn't, you said Lazard, and I'm good with that as a breakout. And Tunyon, I expect it.
Well, Tunyon you should expect because he's fucking great. But I would say this is I think your disconnect with Amari Rodgers, and I love that decision because I was half and half with Rodgers and Lazard. And I think it's obviously like, okay, when you don't have Adams, right, someone's got to step up. So like, let's pick somebody. But I agree with the Amari thing because I think that and we're just historically, we never hand the keys over to a new receiver, right? Which is my fear with this new class of receivers. Like that's the reason why Matt has stressed about it for the last 3 years is they've never just been like, oh, rookie receiver, you can be our number one
right
guy
on
on offense. Like it just never happened. So I think that with Amari, I think that was the plan of attack with him was let's get him acclimated. Let's get him in a system. Let's figure out what he needs to do before just tossing him in there and kind of, whatever. Now that could be me just being endlessly romantic with the idea of there's something different, but I agree. I think that Amari Rodgers, there's something they're trying to figure out with him. And there's something that he needs to be and or do in the sense of very much that Deebo Samuel, that McCole Hardman, that kind of Tyreek type feel of, yeah, we're not going to send you on nines. We're not going to send you on post plays, but you're going to run across the middle. You're going to come around the backside. You're going to swerve and Irvin a bunch of the time. You're going to confuse defenses. We're going to see motion. And that's where, again, I go back to like 2-3 years ago. I think I said this when I was all excited about our offense, and I'm even more excited now. But you line that offense up and you have a guy like DeGuara who can play 3 positions, Lazard who can play 2 positions. You have Aaron Jones who's a receiver and a running back. You have Amari Rodgers who can play basically 3 positions and an A.J. Dillon. You put them like, you start rotating him into like a wishbone to all of a sudden now it's a 5 wide. I mean, defenses are going to be like, what the fuck is going on? And I think that's the next step in the NFL, right? Every like 5 to 10 years, we see the NFL try to progress into something different. I think the idea of like multifaceted players, because players now are just so much more impressive than they've ever been. I think that's the next step in the NFL. And I think the Packers have a couple guys that are like strangely and awesomely equipped to take over like multiple positions, and it fucks with defenses.
All right. There's our offense. There's our prediction. So we got Lazard, we have the safe pick A.J. Dillon, and then we have Amari Rodgers. So we'll check that back out. We'll probably make another one, obviously, after training camp and after preseason's done, and we'll just kind of slate it in on one of our August shows. But we will hit that back up, and then we'll obviously look at it at the end of the year too. So
there's people here in our chat, and I haven't seen one person tell us who they think
yeah, it's true. Yeah, why don't
is
you
the
guys talk-
breakout.
I actually think Iowa Joe did.
You
Iowa
know what,
Joe did.
Gabbert? You sit here and talk shit, but I don't see you tell me one person. Willie D,
Well,
come on.
Yeah, we'll see. Well, I'll keep an eye on it. So defensively, we'll start with Fred this time. Fred, why don't you say your defensive guy?
Oh my god,
He doesn't know. Okay,
This is
Matt,
actually
no.
really hard. I've been thinking about it since.
No,
I
it's
did-
super-
really?
it's not that I
because
don't know.
everybody's already
I'll
good.
go.
Everybody's already good.
I mean, Riser though.
All right.
I mean, this is breakout.
All right. Someone's gonna
Is
say
it-
my
okay,
guy.
so is it breakout or a guy that just takes a step and like progresses?
Break-
Isn't that
Breakout,
what
like-
that is? Isn't that what a breakout is? Taking that next step.
No,
Like
Oh, you
Gary
might have
did
a
it last year.
step.
Last year was Gary, right? Like you wanted
Guys
Gary
already
to take that.
established themselves. They could take a step forward still. Doesn't mean they're a break. Like if Gary progresses as he should, I'm not going to.
Okay,
call
I
him
think
a
all
breakout
players
player
you
'cause
would
he's
hope
already
progress. I think this is
well, right.
I think
Breakout is like has
breakout
like a
is like
huge,
okay, yeah.
had a
Huge
notable
contribution.
season.
Who's going to
Huge
sell more
contribution
jerseys than
to
they
the
did
team.
last year?
Yeah. So
Yeah.
like he gets 3
Um,
picks or he gets 10 sacks,
I'm going to
like-
say, I'm going to go back to a guy that I predicted us to draft, and Eric Stokes. I think that Stokes is going to step up big time. I think that Stokes played remarkably last year, and it seemed to somehow get completely overshadowed by a bunch of things. And maybe that's right. I don't know. But I just feel like he did a really good job considering that the guy who's getting paid $31 million because of his talents was injured, and we didn't have a massive fall off from it. Right?
Yeah.
If you have
Yeah.
a corner that's literally getting paid that much, you would think with him being out, we would have just gotten torched last year. We didn't because of a lot of things, but I think Stokes was a big part of that. And I think with Jaire's big contract, more focus on him, I think that Stokes is going to get an opportunity to really kind of ball out. And I love him. And I love even more, and I'm going to bring this up a few more times, I'm sure, this year. I love the Georgia connection. You have one on the D line, you have one on the linebacker spot, and you have one in the
all three
corner
levels.
spot. I think all 3 levels, Bulldogs. I love it, and I'm
They're tough
excited
as
about that.
nails.
So I'm gonna go Stokes all day, every day on that defense, and I expect him to be. I would say he will probably be this coming year. I think he will be at pretty much where Jaire was his rookie year. And so I think he'll be like 2 years behind, but I could see something where in the next 3 to 4 years, we could have a generational secondary with those 2 guys.
all right.
That's a big statement, and I'm
That
going to
is a
say
big
it.
statement.
I
I'm
like
probably
it.
not going to go that big, but I will.
What you got?
That's a good one.
Well, you're short.
Wow, we're just
Wow.
short jokes up in here.
Well, I'm just saying, if you don't want to go that big, I mean, if you obviously
No, I'm
can't
saying
get
like
that high or what?
I'm no. I was my pick is like
I'm just saying.
a smaller pick in the
A
sense
safe
of Jesus,
pick,
I'm
like
just
comfy
throwing more short
pick.
jokes out there. All right, you want me to go, Matt? You want me to go?
Sure.
It's
Yeah.
my fault.
What you
All
got?
right, so I'm gonna go a little bit deeper onto the depth chart, and I think because you
Wow.
saw it on the draft, you saw it in free agency, you really see it now looking at the depth chart. I'm gonna say Jonathan Garvin. So right now, there is nobody except for Enagarbe or Enarabe. I think that's how you say his name. That we drafted, right?
Yeah.
So I can't expect a rookie to either A, get the playing time, or B, unless he just balls out. I mean, I guess I could be wrong. But if you look at Jonathan Garvin and his progression, he's had some injury issues, but when he's been there, he's given, a little bit of a, surprise to the, not only the fans, but obviously coaches. I think there's a lot of hype around him. And the fact that there's nobody giving these guys breathers for Preston and Rashawn, someone's going to have to step up on that depth chart. If it's Tippy Galay and, if it's him or whoever it may be, I don't know who's going to make this roster by the end of summer. But my bet is Jonathan Garvin because I've seen it, especially when he is healthy. He has push. He has like a good first move. I don't know if he has enough in his repertoire for a bull rush, but he has a pretty good spin move. I've seen it, and so I'm gonna go with him. I'm gonna just go on a limb here, and I'm thinking probably like a 4 to 5 sack kind of thing. Nothing like crazy what Rashawn would get, but like 3 or 4 of them may be just like that, like third down that you needed, that just huge, the guys are gassed and he comes in and he somehow gets his big third down conversion or stop, sorry. Something like that where he's just going to, tip the forces in our favor kind of thing. And that's the kind of motivation from a guy that's on the third string, maybe / second string that you would want from him. So I'm going to say Jonathan Garvin.
I like that. I think
Badass
that's a good pick. My first initial pick was to go with Darnell Savage, but I think that's more of like a comeback than as a breakout. I don't know if he's ever really broken out. He's had a couple of nice seasons.
He could have if he had like 4 interceptions against Minnesota.
I feel like it could have been last year, but he dropped them all. So, but I'm gonna do it, Sanjay. I'm gonna go a little bit deeper on the depth chart. I try to fit something we're not really talking about. And I'm gonna say, and this is probably a swing, so someone's gonna laugh, but TJ Slayton.
I love it. It was me and him. Those two.
And so my reasoning being, you obviously have Kenny Clark's the guy. You brought in Jaron Reed, who's an older vet, not really totally sure what you're going to get there other than a lot of experience. And then obviously they drafted Devontae White, and you have a couple other guys in the roster like Dean Lowry. But I saw Slayton a few times later in the year last year kind of take that step, or at least look like he was starting to figure things out. And if he can parlay that into a really strong summer, I think early in the year, while those other guys are trying to maybe get their footing, he has a leg up and can has the opportunity to maybe seize a little bit and take control of that, interior lineman number 2. So I would love to see him. And he's a big boy, 6'4", I think 330, 40. So he's in line with that body type they like. So I like what Slayton could potentially bring to the table this year.
That's going to be a big camp battle between him and Zach Eflin. I think there's a lot of like, Twitter hype on Zach Eflin, but I think TJ Slayton, I like your pick.
Quietly coming.
I gotta be totally honest. You guys, both those choices, man. I'm like,
we didn't go safe.
I'm a little impressed.
I had to step it up. You didn't.
I love
feeling.
Garvin, and I think Garvin was a guy that when we drafted out of the U, I was like, yeah, sneaky motor, sneaky. But very raw, very much Brashawn Gary, right? Like needed to work on his technique,
maybe even more.
Needed to work on his move tree, things like that. And then, dude, when we drafted Slayton, I thought he was I thought he was it. I thought him and Kenny were gonna run the show for a long time. So I can totally get behind that. I love those 2 picks, boys.
And you? What is your pick? Oh, that's right.
Stokes, bro.
That's right. I forgot. My bad.
And Stokes, man. Well, what can you say? I think he's. I just feel like he's
Stokes
destined for the big time.
I think that's the safe pick. I think he is destined for that, like lockdown. Hey, 2 different islands. It's.
Yeah, I think
he's going to have most of the focus. To be honest, he's going to have
fearlessness, man. Yeah.
It's two like gritty ass little like in your face, piss you off corners, and they're not like Sauce Gardner. They're not long. They're not big. But they're the kind of guys that are going to wear you down over a game, and they're just going to beat the shit out of you.
And look at Stokes last year, man. I mean, Jaire goes out pretty early in the season, and he got all those marquee matchups all year long. And let's be honest about him. I mean, this is from a total objective standpoint. I thought he passed the test with flying colors as a rookie and was played fearless, confident.
There wasn't too many
not too many.
Right?
Yeah, he had a couple of rookie moments, but nothing that was egregious. No, I just thought he played like a 2 or 3 year vet, and he's probably the most excited about that guy in defense.
He was probably almost as close to par with how Jaire's rookie campaign was.
Yeah,
Stokes. I mean, they were like but they were like just good. Like you didn't have to worry about them. Like you saw a couple like
pleasantly surprised,
whatever. But like So
he was thrown in the fire early, right, with Jaire. So,
but how cool though that we have like the second string corner, right? Potential 3rd, 4th string defensive lineman.
Yeah,
potential 3rd, 4th string problem to have when those are breakout players.
I mean, what a luxury.
That's how deep. Yeah, that's how deep we are, honestly, as a team.
That's why these analysis that get on the goddamn television every single day and talk about like the Packers lost half their team in the offseason. But really, it was just
do the deep
Adams.
Like
it's like, did you guys watch this team at all last year? No. Obviously not. And now they only added to it.
They watched the Tampa Bay Bucks. They watched the Chiefs. Like that's the only teams they watch. So. All right, man, that kind of sums it up for those little predictions, and we got a little bit of roster talk going. But as you know, the schedule did come out, and we finally figured out that we are going to London. And
London
for anybody that is,
you sound like you're from London.
Oh gosh, mate. So we know if anybody of you guys are going to London, that's awesome. I really hope you guys. Oh, look at this guy. Here you still have your
He's ready.
tag
He's
on.
ready for a round of 18 at St. Andrews.
Yeah. But it came out. We'll go through it real quick. We'll give our too early prediction of what we see with the on paper. Because that's all we can do right now. But we'll come revisit it again. Probably right before the season. We'll real quick just if we have any changes to this, we'll make it. If not, we'll keep it and we'll see how the season goes. But again, don't take any of this as like, oh, we definitely think this is going to happen. But we are going to count all the losses that Matt and Fred make. So,
of course.
Yeah, that's exactly what I mean. I have my notebook here. So
we'll be hearing about these predictions in December. Hey, remember
we only got 15 minutes.
Time to grow up,
Andre.
Andre.
All right. So we got the Bears. All right. The Bears.
No.
Home opener. Well, sorry.
No.
Yeah.
Vikings. We start on the road.
Vikings. My bad.
Come on.
Vikings. My bad. On the road at Vikings. Mr. Fred.
Dub.
Oh, you just giving a dub?
Yeah, we're winning that game.
Dub.
Come on.
Yeah, not a question.
It's
now if it was Saints
in Florida.
Yeah,
I'll go dub. I mean,
Fred,
I don't know. I feel like
I'm going
Packers
lost. I'm going lost.
Shocking. Wow, isn't it starting off just fantastic?
What is this offense going to look like? Is it going to be really ready by week 1?
Yeah.
I think the defense will be. I think the
exactly.
defense will be. But Kirk Cousins has predominantly destroyed us at home.
This is on the road, though. My guy.
I'm saying at their home.
Oh, at home.
Like,
I got you.
Yeah,
okay.
at his
I got
home,
you.
right. Okay. Now our home opener.
Bears?
Gabbert, I'm sorry, man.
We're beating the Bears, okay?
We're
beating the Bears.
0-1 to start out the league.
We're going 2-0 to start.
Can we just all say
I don't
dubs
even
for
need
that?
that.
Yeah,
damn
I'm
well.
not,
dubs. Come on,
I'm not
geez.
picking us to lose against the Bears. I'm not that dumb. All right. Bucks
Questionable.
in Tampa.
That's an L.
Woo!
We don't
Fred?
play well in Florida. We
Fred?
never do. It's
I'm gonna take that W because I think what's gonna happen is it's gonna be
Fred just never
early.
thinks L exists.
No, it's gonna be an early win for us, and it might haunt us later down.
Well, it could, like you said, Fred. That could be the sort of early season win. We're like, all right, these guys are different, maybe.
Right.
But if they come on, if they come on and get blasted in Florida by the Bucks, we all know how the season's ending. I'll just skip to January. Nothing's changed.
I'm taking the L. Yeah, I don't think we win in Florida. So it's so hot.
They stink.
Like,
They don't play well. There. I don't get it. I don't
The
understand.
temperature might be an issue there because it is pretty early in the season.
Are you changing?
I know it sounds
I
like
haven't
a
gone to
lame.
the next team yet.
I'm gonna
Are
stay
you
with that. I'm
changing?
gonna stay with W. I'm gonna stay with
All
that.
I know it sounds lame, but they always suck when they play there.
New England. Bill Belichick comes to Lambeau. He's not
Dub.
good here.
Dub.
Matt,
I'm not a believer in Mac Jones and that offense, whatever they want to call it. I don't understand
I
it.
think our defense terrorizes Mac Jones.
Yeah, I think this is the defensive party that you were talking about, where they get in the locker room and they like dance like they're in college, basically. Yeah, I think this is that win. All right, London, mate. We hold up the Giants. It's a home game for the. I think it's a gold package. Suckers.
Win the Giants.
Yeah, that's a W across the board. I mean, unless Daniel Jones just. No, I'm just kidding.
He's not. Don't even finish the
there's
sentence.
too many missing parts there.
All right, Jets at home.
That's a win.
W.
Brees Hall though.
What am I at right now? What?
You're at 4-1.
5-1.
5-1.
Okay.
5-1.
5-1. Okay.
I'm at 4-2. Fred's at 6-0.
There you go.
Washington
17-0.
Commanders. Carson Wentz, your new quarterback.
I mean,
at
look at the
Washington.
fucking teams. Like, it's not like I'm that weird right now. Like,
Yeah,
you're like,
it's
pretty
true.
ample.
It's
Like,
true.
that's the only
weird.
one that's
We've
like.
always split with Minnesota.
Yeah, we'll get there.
All right. Washington.
Washington dub, dude. Come
It's a
on.
win.
They don't even know what the fuck's going on.
I don't know if they get Chase Young back, but I'm going to go with W.
Yeah.
That
win.
defensive line scares me. At Buffalo. Here we go.
So it's a Sunday nighter in front of the nation. Usually the Packers are good for one total egg
I
on
got
national
the first
TV. So
L. I got the first
Bills
L.
going down to the Bills. I'll take them as a loss there.
And here's the thing:
an
you
L.
don't need this win. Like, it's an AFC opponent. If you
That's
were to
my
look-
biggest thing that I
the
talk about
national
all year.
media is
Why
going to
do
make
you
a big deal
care?
about it. Yeah, it's
Yeah.
not.
Yeah, why does it matter? Obviously, we've been wildly successful during the regular season.
It's just a
and it don't
benchmark. It's a
mean shit.
benchmark.
Hey,
game.
you
It's
know
a
what?
benchmark
I'm going to take the W here. I
Get
think
fucked.
Time out. Time out. I really think this is not trying to be stupid and like, yeah, first off, this is going to be a funny one.
You're
so I do think that Josh Allen sometimes plays like an idiot. And that team sometimes plays like idiots. I mean, they just got routed by New England by throwing 3 passes. So I'm just saying this team can lose.
I agree.
I
think
at home.
Here's the thing I would say about all of these games is that it's kind of it's hard to judge it because like what does Buffalo play prior to us? Right?
Yeah, I don't
they
know.
play a game that they dominate. Their confidence is great. Did they lose the game?
No matter
and all
what, they have a home game on a short week. So like, no matter what for them, it's an advantage for them, right?
1 second.
I think for us coming off London and then going to play Buffalo is going to be.
It's not coming off.
This goes into what Fred just said. Hold on.
London's like 3 weeks before that. London, Jets, Washington.
Oh yeah, Jets.
Hold on.
My bad. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
I don't know what the stat is called, but in a way, basically what it is the Packers are far and away the worst in terms of having to play teams coming off rest, like a bye or a Thursday nighter or whatever.
Are they coming off their bye?
The worst. I don't know if they are, but multiple teams are. So
Iowa Joe, look up the Bills schedule. Who do the Bills play the week before that? Thank you. All right, we got to keep moving on here. Detroit, at Detroit. Kneecap Detroit.
Okay, these have been really pesky.
The fact that we even think about this is so disgusting.
That is funny though. Amon Ra, you got probably Jameson Williams coming back by that point.
Listen, what was it? LaFleur's first year, we beat the Lions twice, but at no point were we winning. During regulation in either game. They have not played well against the Lions, home or away.
Exactly.
I'm going to predict a win, but that's definitely not a guaranteed.
I'm going to take a W, but I don't feel comfortable with it.
All right, I'll take the L.
Oh, come on.
You guys don't feel good about it. You don't.
I know.
Yeah, but why won't you
see Buffalo has a bye. Told you.
Buffalo's going to smoke.
Can I change my pick then? Can I change my pick to an L?
No. You're stuck with it.
Why? What sucks is that when you're 50-50, you go to the L instead of the W. It just proves you're not a good
That's true. That's right.
I'm just saying, like, it could be a
glass half empty.
Team, guys. This is a different team. I don't know what this offense is going to be like.
They lost one guy.
This is too early prediction.
2-time MVP.
One guy.
He could be hurt. He could have COVID.
Okay.
No, we're
Dallas.
assuming that they're
Dallas at home, not in
no way
January.
Are they letting Mike McCarthy come into Lambeau Field and get a win. This is a guaranteed win.
Yeah,
I want to see
Rodgers.
Mike McCarthy.
Rodgers would go vintage Favre to prove that he could. Like, he will never let that happen.
He'll throw interceptions trying to win that game. He's not letting it happen.
I wish he had the same mindset during the playoffs, but he doesn't. It's like
he doesn't.
He wants to hold grudges, like personal grudges, not like fucking victorious grudges.
So this should be automatically a 40 burger prediction from all of us. So
those games usually are pretty high scoring though.
Derrick Henry comes into town. Titans.
They have no. Other than him, not a big believer in their offense. Not a big believer. I'm going Packers here.
Fred?
L. I'm gonna say
what do they have?
They're gonna be coming off of a very emotional. Strong.
This is a Thursday nighter, by the way. Thursday nighter.
Listen. Shut your mouth, Sanjay. It's gonna be an emotional game against Dallas, and it's gonna be a hyped game. The whole fucking world is going to be talking about the whole week.
Yeah, but it's in our advantage.
Then they're going to go play. Then they're going to play Tennessee, which is a punch you in the mouth team. And guess how good we've done against punch you in the mouth teams. Matt,
remember when AJ Dillon punched Tennessee in the mouth? Remember that game? AJ Dillon just said, "Here's my dick. I'm bigger than Derrick Henry."
Hey, but you're right, Sanjay. Remember the last time that the Titans were coming to town, and I think you two were shitting your pants about Derrick Henry, and he didn't do shit.
He did
nothing.
I know. That's why I'm taking the dub. That taught me a lot.
I take an L, and you want to like criticize me, but you take L's against Detroit, you bitch.
Yeah, that's true. I know.
That's true.
Okay,
all right.
I'm regretting that pick. I'm regretting that pick. Big regrets here. All right.
Yeah, big ones.
No regrets.
At Jalen Hurts. Now with AJ Brown, who doesn't play for the Titans anymore. They just got Bradbury from the Giants. They making moves.
They've got a
Miles
solid
Sanders.
The hard thing
They
about doing these
drafted Jordan Davis, Georgia
Yeah.
Bulldog.
The hard thing about these predictions is I do believe the Packers are pretty much better than every single team on their schedule. Maybe a couple that are toss-ups. This is one of those games, Rick. Yeah, they should definitely win. But if you get an upstart Philly
You're
team
taking
on
an
the
L.
road,
You're
I'm
taking the
not.
L.
It's going to be a win.
Oh.
But I'm just saying I could see him going in there and just not playing well and
Can
losing
you
the
stop
game.
with the I can see? Just pick yes or no. I'm tired with the I can
Like,
see.
my
It's
gut
like you're
says
hedging your
yes.
bets. You're hedging your fucking bet. It's basically
He
what
just
you're
he
doing.
know what he's doing it because if I pull the clip back, it's always going to start off with, "Well, I was thinking." This
Yeah.
Cover my ass.
I said it was
Oh, the
possible,
CYA,
but I didn't
cover
actually
your
go
ass.
with that route.
Yeah.
You'd have to edit that
Fred?
clip to put that out.
And hey, I would say this. I would say that is exactly how I feel about the Titans. It's one of those games that,
Well,
like,
you picked
on
the L.
paper, we should dominate.
You were a
But I do
man.
think
You were a
coming off
man.
Dallas,
You actually picked
I
it.
think coming
Not
off Dallas,
flag
we're gonna
boy
be-
over there.
We're going to be tired. We're going to be beat up, and I think Tennessee's going to come in and they just want to beat the shit out of us. That being said, Philly, we've done really well in Philly, and Aaron's played really well in Philly, in my eyes. So I'm going to take a W on that one.
I'm gonna take it
Coming
out.
off a loss.
I'm gonna take the L.
Of course you are. What are you going to fucking?
It's at Philly. What are you talking about? We've done really well against Philly. No, we haven't. We
We don't
lost.
play him enough. We don't play him enough to be able to say that.
Well, yeah, that's what I'm saying.
When's the last
We've
time we
lost
played
to
them?
them. We've lost
No,
to
you're
them at
saying. You were
home.
just saying- okay. All right. Next game, dude. You're an idiot.
Oh yeah, I forgot it. LaFleur's first year. That was a good game though, if I remember correctly.
Throw some knowledge at you.
I'm
bro.
on Tina. Tina,
Yeah.
come on.
At Bears in Soldier Field. That's a dub.
W.
Right?
That's a win.
I'll take the win. All right, just real quick. We have Matt with 2 losses. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 11, and 2. We have Fred 2, 4, 6.
11 and 2.
11 and 2. Yeah, right.
Okay.
Sanjay.
Glad you're keeping tally marks.
Come on. Can you count, dude?
It's your own writing.
9 and 4, Sanjay.
9 and
All right.
4. Gosh, you're
What's
an
up?
ass.
All right, Rams at home. Rams. This is the game. This is everybody's got this one circled on the
What
calendar.
part of the year is that? We're talking probably
December.
like December now.
Monday,
Yeah.
Monday nighter.
Hold.
After a bye.
The
After
Rams
the
were
bye.
petitioning to have their game in London during. No, they wanted to
Oh.
play the Packers against them in
Shocking.
London because they didn't
Yeah,
want to play in the cold. Big
Because they're bitch
sissies.
asses.
Rams.
What do you got, Maddie?
They're gonna win, man. They got their number. It's December. It's playoff push time.
but now
be a
they
good
have
game, but they're gonna
Bobby
win.
Wagner. They have
Yeah, we
Allen
got-
Robinson.
Well, maybe we'll have OBJ at that point.
See, Sammy Watkins ain't making this team. Sammy Watkins.
Similar to
Or coming off the bye, you could sign him. He marinates for a week and plays it. Just the storyline writes itself.
Yeah, he plays against his old team that he won a Super Bowl. with.
Exactly.
Yeah, that he won a Super Bowl with. Yeah, why would he have an axe
or
to
with
grind?
whatever. I'm gonna take an L. on this one.
Whoa.
I
And
was
I think
tempted. I was
just
tempted.
just similar to the Bucks. I think it comes back when it comes playoff time.
I have a loss here too. I don't think we're on the same level as the Rams.
I think that the Rams
think
are
we're
going to come
trash
into the
compared to
season
them.
hot, and they're going to stay hot
Hold
for a
on.
very long time.
He said we're trash compared to them. What? How are we trash? What are you talking about? This guy.
I just want to see your reaction.
Trash.
Literally, my entire goal this year is to somehow figure out some sort of bet to make your life fucking because I hate your guts.
Ugh.
Okay, not trash, but I just
Thank
think
you.
they're on a different level. They got stars.
So did
You
the
got
Philadelphia
Stafford
Eagles
now.
when Vince Young was there and Michael Vick, but how'd that work out?
We've beaten them 3 times in a row. And
Dream
every time
team,
we think they're
remember?
going to beat us.
That wasn't always Matt Stafford. We've only beat Matt Stafford once.
And then like 30
Yeah.
times before that.
Okay,
Anyway, keep
at
going.
Dolphins, Miami.
Loss.
Wow.
And
you're
you're like
you
convicted
think
on that.
Tua's gonna beat Aaron Rodgers?
Yeah.
You think
No,
You think
Florida.
Tua's gonna beat this defense?
Florida is going to beat the Packers. That's
Aaron
what's going to
Rodgers
happen.
destroys Miami. Have you not seen Aaron Rodgers
I don't
in
know if I
Miami?
can agree with you on that one, Maddie. I will
I
say
figured nobody
W
would, but-
because I think we're going to be coming off a loss off the Rams, and the Dolphins are going to take the fucking.
I'm going W here. I don't.
Tyreek Hill,
Unless
man.
unless Tua gets hurt and they like trade for Baker Mayfield or something.
Tyreek Hill's gonna probably want to trade up because he doesn't get enough passes.
Yeah, he gonna be
and
pissed.
It's Christmas Day. It's going to be warm. The Packers are going to be thinking about being back at home. They're just going to, have one of those games.
I mean, Christmas Day. Okay,
Is that how
that's
you're gonna
actually a good
wake
point.
up on Christmas
Hold
Day
on.
thinking that you picked
Hold
it
I don't
up?
want to.
Christmas
I don't
Day
want
is
to.
a legitimate thing, though. That's actually a really good point.
Yeah, but they're getting paid millions.
That's
But they're gonna be in Miami for Christmas. Like,
That's
I'd
the
rather be in
Christmas
Miami
gift.
for Christmas.
I got
than
a
fucking-
$10 million paycheck coming today. That's Christmas. All right, Vikings.
Wow,
it's
Yeah.
in Miami,
Dude.
Iowa. Joe, see, they can't play in Florida. He gets it. It's a loss.
But at some point, that's got to stop because remember, like,
I
nobody
would
could
like
play
it.
at
Aaron
Lambeau.
Rodgers is good in Miami.
It's like Brett Favre
Iowa
couldn't
Joe.
play in a dome until he
He's
played
not
for the
good in
Vikings.
Tampa, but he's good in Miami.
All right, next.
Vikings home.
Win, because they're going to be out of playoff contention. We'll just get their
Are they? Kirk Cousins.
Maybe not. I don't know. They're just a 9-win team. That's what they are.
Justin Jefferson, Dalvin Cook.
Every
Daniil
year
Hunter.
Yeah,
we say the same
Jaire
thing. And they don't
Alexander.
do shit. Oh, they got
So-
Darius Smith. Look out.
Well, no.
Okay. All right,
I'm
Fred.
gonna say a W. I'm gonna say we sweep Minnesota. Fuck Minnesota.
I don't have a sweeping. but
Oh,
I'm-
shocking because you hate the fucking Packers.
I have a W here.
Why don't you? Oh, you said we won?
Yeah,
I-
he did.
I have
He
us
did,
winning.
yeah.
Oh wow, I thought you said loss. Sorry.
I said loss on
You're
week
still an
one.
asshole, and I still think you don't
Week-
like the Packers.
week-
Whatever.
Gone are the days that we sweep the division.
Next.
Lions home game, last game.
Win 14-3. One
Win.
seed.
14-3. Suck it.
I don't have 14-3.
Side
but-
of a nice like fat 11-6 or something. What is yours?
I have 5 losses.
Okay. I mean, I can get behind
That's
that. You told
actually
me
probably legit.
I
mean,
think the
get-
Packers are somewhere between a 3 and
fuck
5
all.
loss team. That's what it feels like.
Yeah, exactly.
I would say that if you were to ask me outside of like per game, if you were just to say how many wins versus losses do we have this year, I probably would go 5. I probably would.
Yeah,
feel
it
more
feels like
confident.
they're going to
very
lose some
realistic.
games they
What
shouldn't
5?
lose.
What
They
5? I
always do.
don't quite know. I think it all plays off into like who has buys, who's hurt, what game did you play the prior week? Like there's a lot that goes into it. It's hard to just be
Yep.
like, oh, week 13 against the Lions.
Yeah.
Assuming everyone's healthy and everyone did not lose the week before.
They won't be.
It's just too fucking hard. That's why when like I think Ethan came up to me last week or a couple weeks ago and was like, or a week ago, and
His
was like,
3 wins
"Oh."
are in Miami, Mr.
he was
Iowa
like,
Joe.
did you see that like we had like this strength of schedule according to ESPN, and it's like, dude, strength of schedule don't mean fucking shit.
No.
Like never.
Once the
means
season
anything,
gets
'cause
going, it all blows it up.
it's all different. So like I hate like making the decision like, oh, we're gonna lose or win on week 12. Like we're the whole team could be completely different. The team we're playing
There-
is different. I mean, there's just so much to it. It's just,
All right. Well, we'll hold on to this. We'll put this in our little capsule. Okay.
Time
We'll
capsule.
put time
yeah,
capsule.
you
We'll
will
come
put in a
back to
capsule.
this.
None of us will care.
Hey, when we do lose week 1 against Vikings,
Jesus, dude.
boy knew.
Just when he's it.
Savant.
When.
Savant. All right.
Thanks, sir.
Hey, thank you everybody for coming out on your Monday evening. I know it's obviously that slow
Thanks,
period in the
Gabs.
NFL, but we appreciate everybody that did come out for the show. We will be back at some point.
Big shout out to Iowa Joe and Gabbert for always sticking it through.
There you go. See? He's
Even when Sanjay's an asshole.
What was the winning? Okay, well we'll talk about it next week. Yeah, I mean I don't know the Tampa win.
Jacksonville on opening day. Tampa.
Was it
I
against
don't-
Josh
Freeman.
whatever his name was, the other quarterback?
Wilson.
And he beat Miami on the fake spike to
I
Tay
know,
on the
that's the
corner,
one
or
I'm
whoever
thinking
it
of.
was.
And
That'll be-
Jacksonville, yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Never mind. All right. So we will be
All right.
back. When we do, you'll see us. Follow us on Twitter. Follow us on it's Instagram, and follow us on Facebook through the Sweep Studios and Game On Wisconsin. With that being said, I'm Sanjay. That's Matt. That's Fred. Go Pack
Go!
Oh, I'm not ready.
End the show. Oh my God. This is what
Cut
he
it.
was end the show.
I wasn't ready.